Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى لا سيما المصطفى صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Dear viewers, welcome to a new edition of your program Ask Huda. Our phone numbers beginning with the area code are 002-0238-555, 248 or 249. And the email addresses are ask@huda.tv and alternatively gardens@huda.tv. The Facebook questions, I receive it on my page, which is Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. Our first caller tonight, Brother Hassan from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Brother Hassan, how are you?
May Allah bless you and reward you for spreading the true message of Islam.
Ameen. Thank you. May Allah bless you too. Barakallah feekum.
I have a question and two inquiries, two requests.
Now.
My question is that I know that one's property in Islam is inherited by its inheritors only after his death, while inheritors of other faiths inherited once they are born.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you, Brother Hassan.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, I am a Muslim and want to write a wish
Now.
that my property should not be distributed among its inheritors after my death, but should be instead distributed upon the death of my wife. I just want to do so to safeguard the interests of my wife after my death.
I see. Okay.
Can I do so, or it has to be distributed just after my death? This is the question.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
I have a daughter, and okay. The second, this is my request now. I have a daughter and two sons. Due to my constant persuasion and dawah, I have, alhamdulillah, been able to, to a greater extent, in bringing my wife and the youngest son towards the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To some extent, my elder son has also been following our deen, but I have so far failed to make my daughter follow our deen, which makes me quite disappointed because she is already married and I don't have any control over her. I just keep on reminding her about the requirements of a deen, but I have failed so far. Allah has blessed me with everything, but I don't want to die before seeing my children following the true message of Islam.
MashaAllah.
I just request you to please advise my daughter and the other son to fulfill my solitary wish, and please pray for me to succeed in bringing them from darkness to light.
Inshallah, you will.
Another request is that I have transferred some amount through 4 different transactions to Bashar al-Huda via Commercial International Bank and did not receive its acknowledgement whether they have received it or not.
Okay.
I sent several emails to support@huda.tv requesting it to confirm its receipt, but despite promises, they have not done so till date. I therefore suspended transferring any further amount. I would highly appreciate if you could advise them to confirm whether they have received earlier payments to help me start further transfers.
Sure.
For your information, I have mailed to you yesterday the details of all 4 transactions and the related correspondence I did in this regard with Huda TV. I just want your help in this one. Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum, Brother Hassan. Thank you so much. Your first question, how lovely is your feeling? But inshallah, since you're very keen to know the Sharia verdict in this regard, I will share that with you after I take the next call, inshallah. Sister Adam from Egypt.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have 2 questions. Please, I would like to know, is it allowed in an Islamic country to sell women jewelry? And my second question is how to protect a little
to sell
child.
women jewelry?
Jewelry, like bracelets, necklaces, like this.
I see.
Earrings for women.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yes, you're asking about selling women jewelry for Muslim women in a Muslim country, right?
Yes, like in general in a store. To a store. Like if I, for example, make own bracelets and I want to sell them to a store.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
I'm asking if this is allowed, I don't know.
Okay, it is allowed, yes, of course.
Alhamdulillah. And my second question is how to protect a little child against hasad, the best way.
Okay.
Like while I'm reading about that, do I have to hold him or how do I have to do it in a correct way?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're most
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Adam from Egypt. Brother Hassan, you know, I wish the sister, your wife, is listening to this very lovely feeling that you want to secure her future, even, inshallah, after a long life. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows who's going to die first. And, you know, it is not really typical that always the elder dies first, then the youngster, or the parents before the children. Only Allah knows who's going to inherit whom. But your feeling, I mean, it touched my heart. But in reality, when the person dies, Brother Hassan, he has no control over his wealth anymore. وَقَدْ كَانَ, as the Prophet ﷺ said. When the person dies, wealth is not his anymore. Rather, the wealth becomes the property of the heirs. It is up to them whether to divide it innocently or to divide it whenever they want to. As a matter of fact, when the Prophet ﷺ said, whenever the mayyit, the dead person, dies, 3 things would follow him to the graveyard: his family, his wealth, and his deeds. And 2 out of the 3 would return. Soon will return his family and his wealth, obviously to divide his wealth. So if you're talking about writing a will, the will be honored only if it is written in line with the Sharia. Like, for instance, when you say, I would like my wealth to be divided according to the Sharia amongst my heirs, that's it. And you're only allowed to give a wasiyah to non-beneficiary heirs within 1/3 of your wealth, not more than that. And also, one is not allowed to give an extra penny to one of his heirs, even if it is your wife. This is after long life, after death. But within your life, for instance, you want to secure her future. So for instance, you write the house which you're living in for your wife. Fine. You want to give her as much money as you want. You only have one wife. That's perfectly fine. It's your wealth. You can do whatever you like with it. When it comes to the children, you have to be fair in dividing, you know, your wealth or giving gifts or properties to your children within your life. But the best is when the person dies to write down, please divide my wealth according to the Sharia. End of story. So if the children decided, you know what, our dad just passed away and our mother is by herself, let her enjoy everything and wealth is entirely hers, that is their decision. But you cannot impose that on them. Why? Because the property had been officially transferred to the heirs once the person who possesses wealth died. Look at this hadith, and wallahi, I'm glad you asked this question in order to make us all realize that what we really possess and what we have does not necessarily mean it's ours. This outer garment which I'm wearing it and I'm enjoying it as long as I'm still alive and I'm capable to wear it. But if I die today, then my family would either contribute it, give it away to somebody, maybe one of my children, if they're grown up, would wear it. So it's not actually mine, and so on and so forth. It keeps moving from one person to another. And this is the reality of life. This is the reality of life. So what we need to do is, one thing, you can give your wife within your life, whatever you like. Number 2, write your wasiyah that your will should be divided according to the Sharia. And number 3, you're not allowed to write any wasiyah to non-heirs more than 1/3. Number 4, that you're not allowed to write or give any extra wealth or grants or gifts to any of the heirs in the wasiyah and your will after death. Barakallahu feek. And we'll continue to answer the remaining questions inshallah after these calls. Brother Umar from Nigeria, Assalamu alaikum. Naam.
Sheikh, how are you? How is the family?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking, Brother Umar.
Please, I have 2 questions, inshallah.
No.
The first question is, I want to know if from the Sunnah, there's a perfume or incense used by the Prophet or his companions. And the second question is actually...
What was the first question again, Umar, please? What was used by the Prophet or his companions?
Perfume.
Perfume?
Yes, fragrance.
Okay, fragrance.
Yes, from the Sunnah. Then the second question is actually from a conversation we're having. It's a good conversation, and someone mentioned that from the Sunnah, if you're heading like towards a business meeting or something of the sort, if you come across someone with one eye or a facet, that you're not going to be successful. So I was having kind of doubt about it, and I want you to help me please verify.
I want you to help me and repeat your second question again.
Okay. It was in a conversation with someone, and he said, for instance, if you're heading to a business meeting or anything of that sort, that if you come across someone with one eye or a facet, that you're not going to be successful.
I see. Okay. Being pessimistic or bad omens, believing in bad omens.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Umar. Barakallah feek. I just want to congratulate myself that I got the questions, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Hamida.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
From Nigeria.
wa barakatuh.
Yeah, go ahead, Sister Hamida, please.
Sheikh, I bought a book and I selected du'as, and I saw one of the du'as saying that one can recite Surah Yasin and Waqi'ah on a dead person. So I don't know whether the hadith is authentic and how does one recite the du'as, as in it's on the dead person and love it?
Okay.
Or how do I do it?
I got your question.
Okay.
Thank you, Sister Hamida.
Jazakallah.
Wa jazakum. Sister Abdul Kareem from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, walaikum salam, Sheikh. Sheikh, I have 3 questions.
Naam.
The first one being, this is on behalf of one of my friends. Her husband has passed off recently, and she doesn't stay with her in-laws anymore, and she stays with her parents now. And when she used to stay at her husband's house, just because there were her brother-in-laws around, so he had purchased for her comfort a TV, a small microwave, and a small refrigerator, so that she doesn't have to come in front of them all the time. So now, after his death, does she have the right to inherit those electronic appliances, or they don't belong to her anymore now?
Okay.
This is my first question. And the second one is, my 6-year-old son, alhamdulillah, he knows surahs and he knows how to pray the salah almost. So he insists that he wants to be an imam and lead me and his sister in salah. So is that permissible?
How old is he?
He's 6 years old.
6 years old. And how does he really pray? Does he know how to make wudu, clean up after answering the call of nature? And does he...
Yeah. He knows all that.
So he's wise enough to really pray, where if he's praying by himself, he say that this kid's prayer is like an adult's prayer.
At times he looks here and there during his prayer, But mostly he insists, and I don't know, I want to encourage him. At the same time, I feel scared whether my prayer will be accepted or not.
طيب إن شاء الله. Thank you, Sister Abdul Karim. Brother Hassan, second question. I'm now addressing all your children, particularly your daughter who's married. You see how much your father loves you and how much he's very keen to make sure that you will be rightly guided and you will, inshallah, eventually enter heaven along with him, hopefully, inshallah. This is something very beautiful to see that the parents are very keen and careful over their children to be rightly guided and to remain steadfast and so on. And this is an interpretation of ayah number 6 of Surah Al-Tahrim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your family members. And the children, of course, are the greatest asset of an individual, especially after his death, whether in their life or afterward. So, sister, I hope you heard what your dad is saying, and I hope that, inshallah, you realize how important it is to save yourself, your husband, your children, and be obedient and dutiful to your parents. Especially, you are so lucky to have such parents. Such a father who's very keen, who's very anxious over you to be rightly guided, even though you're already married. Earn his pleasure. Have him pray for you, because this is your key to paradise. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-walidu awsatu abwab al-jannah. The middle gate of heaven is a gate which could be entered through the father. So try to please your father, especially he's only asking you to be righteous. Try to make him happy. Try to tell him and share with him that the good things that you do in order to comfort him. With regards to the transactions that you made, Brother Hassan, do me a favor if you can just send a copy to the following email address, gardens@huda.tv. And even though this is not my area, but inshallah, tonight, right after the program, soon after we finish the program, I will work on it and I will communicate with the department in charge for that. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you, Brother Hassan. Adam's first question was answered. The second question is about protecting the child from the evil eye, from the envy. We know that the Prophet ﷺ used to give ruqya to his grandsons Al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Initially he used to say, أعيذكما بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. This is a very comprehensive dua. And then after Al-Mu'awwidhat have been revealed, he used to recite them in a state. Al-Mu'awwidhat is قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. And Al-Mu'awwidhataini قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. It is highly recommended that to recite them as means of ruqyah for your children, for yourself, and for every person who's sick, as a prophylactic measure, protection against an evil eye or getting sick or being envied, or whenever the person is already in sickness or in hardship, recite these surah. They are the greatest means of seeking protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil eye, from the harm of people, from the harm of the jinn, and from every evil by the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can recite in your palms and wipe over the child of your head and his body if he's lying down on his bed. You can also do that after blowing thrice, after reciting the whole set, and wipe over the person's head and forehead, or you can just place your palm over his forehead and recite Al-Mu'awwidhat. These are all means of ruqyah, valid ruqyah. Barakallahu feek. Brother Muhammad from Egypt, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Muhammad Sadiq from Egypt with you, Sheikh.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to the program. Go ahead, Brother Muhammad.
Okay, I'd like to ask you about the time given to the divorcee. Okay?
Al-idda.
Yes.
Okay.
How long does a divorcee take shake?
Okay. Okay. I have a question for you. Is it the first, second, or third divorce, Brother Muhammad?
Yes.
Fine. Okay, go ahead. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Safwan from Kuwait. Abu Safwan from Kuwait. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the program, Abu Safwan.
Okay, thank you. Sheikh, I have a question. Is there is a hadith in Tirmidhi about increasing memory that you have to, pray 4 rakat. In the first, you have to do Yasin.
Okay, you don't have to continue. That is not a hadith.
It's not a hadith. That I need to know. Okay, is it sahih or just weak?
Yeah, no, it's not a hadith. You can rely on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Barakallah feek. Thank you. I used to do that when I was young, and in order to memorize the Quran, I used to do that on Fridays and so on. But the hadith, it's not a hadith. That's number one. Number two, there are actually physiological, and moral means of increasing one's memory. There are certain types of food to be eaten, raisin and stuff like that, that would increase your memory. As a matter of fact, just yesterday I read a research that eating fresh onions would help you in this regard, but I wouldn't do that. I would rather stick to the raisin. Also, trying to lower your gaze from looking at what Allah has prohibited. This is one of the best means of increasing your memory and making your memory very powerful. That was also stated in an incident with Al-Imam al-Shafi'i. When he phrased it in a poem, he said, شَكَوْتُ إِلَى وَكِيعٍ سُوءَ حِفْظِي فَأَرْشَدَنِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي وَأَخْبَرَنِي بِأَنَّ الْعِلْمَ نُورٌ وَنُورُ اللَّهِ لَا يُهْدَى لِعَاصِي. When he had an issue with memorizing, Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was an amazing personality with regards to the power of memorization. They used to call him a scanner, like he would just look at the page and it is already scanned in his mind. When he had trouble once memorizing something and he complained to his teacher, Waqi', he said, make sure that you avoid sins, because knowledge is a gift from Allah and it is not to be given to sinners. So this is an advice. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Umar from Nigeria. Perfumes. Is it the Sunnah? Did the Prophet ﷺ ever wear perfume? Of course. He loved it so much. It was one of the 2 items which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ loved most. If you're asking about fragrance, perfume, whether in the form of oil, if we're talking about alcohol-based perfume, this is something contemporary, and we have been discussing the different opinions in this regard. But smelling good is something have been always recommended. The hadith, the Prophet ﷺ ordered that on Friday that you should take a bath, ghusl, brush your teeth, وَأَنْ يَمَسَّ طِيبًا إِنْ وَجَدْ, to wear perfume or fragrance if you can find, because not everybody can afford it. And there are many hadith in this regard when the Prophet ﷺ resembled the good company like a perfume seller. He either would give you a gift, or you can purchase it from him with a discount price perhaps, or at least so long as you're sitting you find good fragrance. And he said, حُبِّبَ إِلَيَّ مِن دُنْيَاكُمْ الطِّيبُ وَالنِّسَاءُ. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Ubaida from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Sheikh, please, I have 2 questions.
Go ahead, Sister Ubaida, I'm listening.
My first question is pertaining the use of relaxer by women in order to soften the hair. I want to know the meaning
pertaining the use of relaxer, whether it is permissible or not. Because I've been hearing different views about it, that it is not encouraged to use it because it's as if you're changing the nature of the earth. So that I want to clarify the issue.
Is this a hair product that you're talking about, the wearing of?
Relaxer, the use of relaxer in order to soften the hair and the woman's hair, to soften it.
Okay, a hair relaxer.
Relaxer, yes, relaxing the hair.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm learning. Okay, what else?
Yeah. My second question is it allowed for someone to, watching like historical films, let's say pertaining films that has to do with the companions of the Prophet, in order to personalizing the companions of the Prophet? Is it allowed to watch films like that?
To watch series or shows presenting the companions of the Prophet?
Yes, pertaining companions of the Prophet.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Ubayda from Nigeria. Brother Omar from Nigeria had another question, which is being pessimistic or believing in bad omens. He said you'll be sitting with somebody to do business, then if you see a one-eyed person or if you see a crow or a black cat, then you should not go forward with this business because that's a bad sign. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in this regard, لا عدوى ولا طيرة. الطيرة شرك. طيرة is being pessimistic upon seeing something. You change your mind. Some people they believe in bad omens of certain numbers, certain figures, certain colors. As you said, black cat or a crow or number 13, especially when it coincides with, this is all superstition. And basically, it is not permissible to believe in such things. Why? The sixth article of faith, وَأَن تُؤْمِنَ بِالْقَدَرِ خَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ. Whatever you see is not going to change Allah's decree. It is not the number, it is not the person, it is not the color, right? And whenever we decide with regards to doing business or not, we don't look at these things, or we do not flip the coin. Rather, we consult Allah via praying istikhara. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Salahuddin from United Arab Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salah, go ahead.
Can you please elaborate more about listening to music? And is it okay to replace music with sound effects? And what's the ruling of whistling?
Okay.
Thank you, Sheikh.
You're most welcome. Take a short break, inshallah, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Please stay tuned.
Imagine that the Anbiya, they were the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they had the hardest life.
He assumed that he had some kind of superiority and he was a better, more chosen, a better person because he had this wealth. And then you look at all the other people who had wealth, and some of them were the worst people. You had Fir'aun and
reviving your niyyah time and again, that you're doing insincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Most of the youth, they think, oh, I'm going to pray when I'm old, it's okay now, I'll have fun in my life. Later on I'll work, I'll go on my bed, I'll pray 5 times a day. And all these things, they think that's later on in their life, and they don't know when they will die.
Amira, who's your role model?
Khadija radiallahu anha.
And why?
Because she was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, and she was the first lady to believe in Islam.
We can't just take knowledge and keep it as information. We have to transfer it into action. When he got up, he said one thing. Asalla nas? Did the people pray? In Hajj, for example, the primary example of how multiculturalism really looks like. All equal. I've got a dentist in Canada. Even though he's ripping holes in my teeth, he's got great akhlaq. I love visiting him. Identify the issue. Analyze it. Challenge it. And then try again. Because if you fail, big deal. Try again and keep trying.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. We have Sister Abdullah from Nigeria on the phone. Abdullah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh. I have two questions.
Now.
The first one is, there's a hadith that a lot of people use here in Nigeria. They say that when a person goes out and comes inside his house and then recites Bismillah and Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times before sitting down, that he will never be poor in life. I don't know how authentic the hadith is.
Nah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
That's the
alaikum
first
salam.
question. Then the second question is about nifas. When a woman has a baby and it has not been 40 days since she had the baby, and the blood stops and comes back again, when does she resume prayer? Does she resume the prayer when it stops, or does she stop the prayer and allows it stop completely before starting to pray? Because at times it stops and comes back and then stops and comes back within the 40 days.
Okay. Any other questions? Wajazakum, Sister Abdullah. Brother Muhammad from the KSA is next.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This is Muhammad Ibrahim from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to the program.
Sir, I have one question regarding the interest money, which I have in the bank in India, but I want to give to someone else. Can I give this to relatives or poor relatives or for the marriages or someone else? I need your help and please guide me on this.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome, Brother Muhammad. Abdullah, with regards to what you mentioned as a cultural practice or common practice in Nigeria, that people say that when you enter your house, you say Bismillah and you recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times, and this and this and that, and they mention virtues of this practice. As far as I know, there is no such hadith in this regard. The hadith which is narrated with regards to the invocation of entering one's house is collected by Imam Abu Dawood in his Sunan, in which it says إذا ولج الرجل بيته فليقل بسم الله ولجنا وبسم الله خرجنا. Before that you say اللهم إني أسألك خير المولج وخير المخرج بسم الله ولجنا وبسم الله خرجنا وعلى الله ربنا توكلنا ثم ليسلم على أهله. This hadith was once judged as sound by Sheikh Al-Albani, may Allah have mercy on him. Then once again later it was judged as fair or as weak. That is the only reference with regards to a specific dua that the person should recite as an invocation upon entering his or her house. To say, O Allah, I ask you for the best entrance and the best exit. خير المولج وخير المخرج. Then you say, in the name of Allah we enter, and in the name of Allah we exit. And we put our trust only in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ثم ليسلم على أهله. Then let him give salam to his family. We, in fact, have a hadith in which النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said إذا دخل الرجل بيته فذكر الله عند دخوله وعند طعامه قال الشيطان لا مبيت لكم ولا عشاء. And this hadith is collected by Imam Muslim. This is a sound hadith in regards to what do you say when you enter your house. So it gave an open choice to the person to remember Allah by whichever means. Like if you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, fine. If you say A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan ar-Rajim and you enter with your right foot, fine. If you recite Quran, that's fine. But the problem is when I specify that you must recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times or any other surahs in a certain number of times, then attach to that certain virtues. We don't have any reference to that, Sister Abdullah. With regards to an-nifas or the postpartum bleeding, its maximum is 40 days. So if the bleeding continues beyond the 40 days, the more right view that the woman would take a ghusl and treat it as an irregular bleeding. Unless if it coincides her regular monthly period, then she would treat it as menses, and after the menses, she would take the ghusl and offer the prayer. But there is a very common wrong understanding with regards to an-nifas or the post-delivery bleeding. Because some women think that they are not allowed to pray for 40 days, even if the blood ceases before that. Now, as a matter of fact, if the woman who just gave birth stopped bleeding 1 or 2 days later, that's it. She must perform a ghusl, then start praying regularly. Why? Because she's in a state of tahara. The bleeding is what prevents the person from praying and fasting. But if it ceases a couple days after the delivery, then in this case, she doesn't have a reason not to pray. Brother Abu Hafiz from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I want a clarification regarding the answer you have given to Mr. Hassan's inheritance question. What you have mentioned is during the lifetime, husband can give whatever he wants to the wife. The clarification I am requesting is after one's death, one of the inheritance is wife. If a person gives during his lifetime more property or whatever 50% of the property, for example, to the wife, is it not unfair with the other inheritance, that is his children?
Sure. Okay. Okay, Abu Hafiz, if the person has only one wife and he gave her reasonably whatever he wants to give her, it's his wealth. He can give her whatever he wants to. If he wants to give his children, he can simply divide his entire wealth amongst his children within his life, no problem, if they are the only heirs. But it is not permissible to single out or prefer one of the children over the others, or give one and does not give the others. Okay? There are some exceptions. If a child is handicapped, if a child was just born and the parents were kind of old, things of this nature. But in general, the person wants to give his wife the house which they are living in, not with the intention of depriving his children or the rest of heirs. Rather, he wants to secure her future. That's approved. It's his wealth. If he were to do the same after his death in a bequest or a will, to say, this house is out of the inheritance, this house to be given to my wife, he will tell him, sorry, we're not going to honor your wish. Why? Because the wealth is not yours anymore. Wealth does not only belong to you. Wealth now belongs to all the heirs to decide whether they want to take their shares or donate it. And who decided their shares? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I said, if he has one wife, but if he has two, then he has to give each the same. He has to be fair for talking about within his life. Because the wife is one of the heirs, she gets 1/8 of the entire wealth of her husband because they have children. If they don't have children, فَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ وَلَدٍ, then 1/4. So she already have a designated amount in the inheritance. After death, she can't get any more than that, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "La wasiyyata liwarith." But guess what? Within your life right now, if you decided to give me a quarter of your wealth, one of your houses, I'll be very happy, and I would say thank you so much. Is it halal? Halal, no problem. It's your wealth. You're spending it in a lawful mean. Barakallah feek. Mushtaq from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, sister.
Yes, I'd like to ask you a question. I gave birth 2 times. I gave birth after Ramadan, and in Ramadan I was pregnant. So I paid the amount you pay when you're not able to fast. So since I paid that, is it necessary I make up for the the days that I missed in Ramadan, or is the amount that I paid okay enough?
Sister, let me ask you this. Are you able to fast now?
Am I able to fast now? Not yet, because
Okay.
I just delivered. Not yet.
Okay, it's been like 10 months now since the delivery, you said. Maybe because you are in the process of breastfeeding or whatever. I'm talking about, my question is there any other health problem that prevents you from fasting for good?
No, not for good, but
Okay. Then in
there's no
this
other
case, the ransom is not sufficient. As a matter of fact, you didn't have to pay ransom, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that for those who are either sick or travelers, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ فَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. So the Quran requires you to make up the days which you missed. When? Whenever you can. Okay? Barakallah feek, sister. Thank you. Brother Anwar from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Anwar.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Welcome
Hello.
to the program. Go ahead and present your question, ya akhi.
Yes. Is it permissible in Islam to have stuffed animals or toys at home, especially rocking horse for kids to play?
Okay, you're talking about dolls or toys in the form of animals?
Toys?
Okay.
Yes.
Nah. Okay.
Soft toys.
Soft toys. Okay, thank you, Brother Anwar. But we do have some pending questions. I'm glad I remember. Sister Hamida from Nigeria asking about, they say that you should recite Surah Yasin and Al-Waqi'ah next to the person who's dying. Well, there is a hadith with regards to Surah Yasin. It says, اقرأوها على موتاكم. It facilitates the process of extracting the soul. But without mentioning Surah Al-Waqi'ah. So it will be okay to do that, to recite Surah Yasin next to the person who's expiring or experiencing death. Abdul Karim, a wife was living with her husband and in-laws. So her husband bought her a microwave, a TV screen, and a few other items for her, not to mingle with the rest of the family and to have some privacy. Now he expired. Does she get to inherit this, or is actually her property? She's the one who will be able to answer this question. Because if the husband gave her this as a gift for her, then that does not count amongst the items which to be inherited. It's actually hers from the very beginning. It had become hers. Like the wedding gifts, like the gold and silver, the jewelry, the dowry. Okay, so it's hers from the beginning. But if it is something like the rest of the appliance that he bought to the household, which he left behind, so it was his property, then it will be included amongst the items which should be divided amongst the rest of the heirs. Sister Abdul Karim as well said that her son, who's 6 years old, mashallah, is very disciplined, he prays on time, and he's insisting on leading the prayer. Can I let him lead me and my daughter in the prayer? Amr ibn Salama, and there is a hadith which is collected by Imam Bukhari, it's a sound hadith. Amr ibn Salama was only 6 or 7 years old when his people accepted Islam during the year of the conquest of Mecca. They accepted Islam, and the Prophet ﷺ taught them how to pray and the prayer timing and so on. And he said, لِيَؤُمَّ الْقَوْمَ أَقْرَأْهُمْ, let the person who has no more Quran lead them in the prayer. So Amr ibn Salama, who was 6 or 7, said, before my people accepted Islam, I used to sit and hang around with Muslims, and I have memorized plenty of the Quran. So I was the only person who knows Quran from amongst all, and I have learned many surahs of the Quran. So they let me lead the prayer. They let me lead the prayer. If he knows how to perform tahara, wudu, and he is stable in his prayer, I mean, he would just leave the prayer and run to see Tom and Jerry, or to watch the cartoons, or to see somebody picking up his toy. Like I know 6 years old, he's a kid. You know, we all have kids and we know. But there are some kids who are very racine. You know, they are grown up after their parents. They know how to behave themselves and so on. You see them in the masjid, you think that they're like adults, mashallah. If he's one of them, then he can lead the prayer. Basically, if his prayer is valid for himself, then it's valid for him and for those whom he lead in the prayer. Make sure that he does the proper tahara after answering the call of nature, and he performs proper wudu. Muhammad from Egypt, Al-Iddah, the waiting period for a divorcee. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. The divorced women must wait for the waiting period, ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. The word قُرُوء, plural of قُرْء, which is ambiguous. It means either the period or the purification which follows the period. So it means both. In other case, this is for women who experience the monthly period, 3 periods, or even the 3 purifications after. And if she's a woman who does not experience the menopause, then we go to Surah At-Talaq, where a woman who is in her menopause or does not have the period at all, the iddah will be 3 months, 3 lunar months from the time that he divorced his wife. That is the iddah. Abdu from Nigeria, Ubayda from Nigeria, hair relaxer. It is permissible to use it, provided it is not, it does not cause any side effects which deteriorates the hair, which hurts the scalp or affects one's health, because we all know that these are all chemicals. So, provided the side effects are avoided, it is permissible. It is permissible for a woman to adorn and beautify herself for her spouse, do the hair relaxer, nail polish, as long as she's not praying, because she will be required to remove it in order to perform wudu for each prayer, or wear whatever makeup that she wants, provided the makeup itself is from halal contents. Watching series and shows presenting the companions is not permissible. How could you watch this actor or this actress who one day was making such a filthy movie or a filthy series, hugging and sleeping in bed with another actress and kissing and hugging, then he is acting as Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, or Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, or Khalid ibn al-Walid, or Ali ibn Abi Talib. That is not befitting. We ran out of time. We, insha'Allah, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us, and hopefully, insha'Allah, we'll continue next episode. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the